There she is. We are coming to you from the City Beautiful, Chicago, Illinois, where tonight WGN Sports presents White Sox baseball. It's Jose Abreu, Avi Garcia, Melky Cabrera and the Sox as they get set to butt heads with the tough, the fast, the good feeling, first place, Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ken Harrelson with Steve Stone as we get set to bring you Game 2 of this day-night doubleheader. In the opener this afternoon, that game started at 1:10. We had Samardzija out there on the bump. He did not pitch poorly at all. But Kansas City normally is a light-hitting ball club, even though they have more home runs than we do. But they hit a couple of home runs that really hurt.
They certainly did that. The Sox also hit a couple of home runs, but unfortunately they came up short. And Mike Moustakas, who's 11 home runs against our Sox, is the most against any other Major League team, hits the ball out of the ballpark and gives the Royals the lead at the time. And then a little later on, Alex Rios, homering for just his first time since opening day against our Sox, put him on top 4-2, and that bullpen made it hold up. Unfortunately, you can't be losing late to the Royals because if you do, you've got some problems.
They have a stunning bullpen out there. But the pitching matchup in Game 2, Edinson Volquez for them, and Johnny Danks, he's got to come up big for us.
And Johnny Danks has always come up big against the Royals. So let's take a look at Edinson Volquez and what he did last time out. He actually threw the ball very well. His fastball had a lot of movement. He's 1-2 lifetime against our Sox with an ERA in the low 3s. Now, he did face the Sox twice this year, so our hitters should know all about him, how his changeup moves. He's got a pretty good one. And he's faced by Johnny Danks, and Danks is 8-1 lifetime against these Royals. He's 4-0 in this ballpark, and his ERA is in the high 2s, so hopefully he's got good stuff. They can split the doubleheader today, and that's exactly what we have left. The only thing we can do is win a second one after losing the first.
All right. Sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
And the Sox from the south side right here on WGN. Dan Roan back at the ballpark. We still have a couple of minutes before opening pitch, so we thought we'd get you caught up on the schedule for the celebration of the White Sox 10th anniversary of the World Series championship. Tomorrow before the game here on the field at about 12:30, a championship parade will be held. You get a chance to see all your heroes from 2005 team. And the first 20,000 fans through the gate get a really cool memento of all this. A replica of the White Sox 2005 World Championship ring, which is very nice. So if you're coming to the park tomorrow, try and get here early. It's a great memento to take home with you. So the parade tomorrow at 12:30. And then on Sunday, a season to remember, an event at the Chicago Theater. Tickets still available for that, by the way. So call the Chicago Theater or check WhiteSox.com for more information. And on Monday, the annual Field of Greens charity golf outing. Most of these players will be involved in that as well. Again, for more information on any or all of these, WhiteSox.com is the place to go. Baseball coming your way momentarily. The White Sox and the Royals in Game 2 of their doubleheader. Sox trying to get things even. We'll have it for you in just a minute.
Out Ned Yost is going to line up his Kansas City Royals, the first place Royals, for the second game today. Alcides Escobar leading it off. Eric Hosmer in the 2 spot. Lorenzo Cain hitting 3rd. That's Kendrys Morales, who's been unbelievably good with this team. 2nd in the American League in runs batted in. Salvador Perez, who set out the first game. Omar Infante, Alex Rios, Paulo Orlando, and Dusty Coleman rounded out. The defense and how they'll line up behind Johnny Danks. It's Melky Cabrera, Adam Eaton, and Aviseo Garcia in the outfield. Gordon Beckham, Tyler Saladino, Carlos Sanchez, and Adam Eaton. Adam LaRoche in the infield. Tyler Flowers behind the plate, and Johnny Danks on the hill. John's always had good luck with these Royals. He's 8-1 lifetime, looking for his 5th win overall. His ERA a touch above 5. On for his 17th start. Opponents hitting 300, which is a pretty big number. As you can see, his control's been very good. Not striking out a whole lot of people, but generally getting the ball over the plate. And a couple of starts ago, he had maybe his best start of the year. The ball came out of his hand perfectly. Last time out, he had some problems. The umpires for the game this evening: Jordan Baker, a king-size umpire behind the plate. Jerry Meals, the crew chief, is at first. Andy Fletcher is at second, and Chad Whitson is at third. So is Tyler Flowers. Throws the balls down to second base. And the Sox enter this one a full 12 games in back of Kansas City, but still hope in the wild card. This is a game that Johnny Danks has to throw very well. The offense has to come alive in this second game, and we're ready to play baseball. And I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
Hi, Steve. Thank you. And once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here over WGN Sports. So glad you could join us for Game 2 of this day-night doubleheader and Game 2 of this 4-game series. and big 4-game series, along with Monday being an off day, and then Tuesday and Wednesday St. Louis coming in. So a big 6-game homestand. Here is Alcides Escobar, as he can't get first pitch. He was 0 for 3 in game 1. He comes in hitting at .288, 2 homers, 33 knocked in. Escobar, one of the fine young shortstops in baseball. That ball hit into left field. Melky can't get there, but he makes a good play to get it on the first hop to hold him to a single.
Escobar was thinking about 2 bases, and when he saw that Melky couldn't come up with it and that he was actually on the ground, he took a very aggressive turnaround first. Melky does a nice job realizing that he's not going to be able to get to it. He's able to keep the glove down, make sure it doesn't get by him, and then with his strong and very accurate arm, and bear in mind he played on these Royals, they know all about him, they didn't test the arm.
Not too many people will test the arms in our outfield. They're, besides being strong, all 3 of them, they're very accurate. So here's Hosmer, 1 for 4 in the first game. Takes first pitch strike. Royals come in with a .273 team average. That's good. They have a 3.48 team ERA, and that's good.
Escobar had a stolen base in the first game, giving him 6 of 9 this year.
Pretty good move right there. .52 for 71 they are in that category. Hosmer on the season hitting at .291, 8 homers and 45 knocked in. But there is not a better first baseman in the American League than Hosmer. He saves these guys a lot of runs. He and Moustakas at the corners both save them a lot of runs throughout the course of a season. Johnny works a lot better when he works fast. One and 2 the count.
Rusty Kuntz, the coach at first base, I'm sure telling Escobar, don't get too careless down here because he will get picked off.
Just off the corner. You're just tuning in. We lost game 1 4-2. Didn't have a whole bunch of opportunities, but one in particular, men on second, third, 1 out, and couldn't do anything with it. Man on first base. He gone.
Sweeping breaking ball out away from Hosmer, who expands his zone. Nice stop by Tyler Flowers, making sure that Escobar can't advance. So a big first out, and here's a guy who's been hitting the ball real well.
He was 2 for 4 in game 1 with an RBI. It was an RBI double in the first inning, knocking in Escobar, who had walked and stolen second base. Slowly hit. Beckham's going to go for the force. They can't turn him first. Kane just a little too much speed for that slow hit ball, but they get the lead man, and there's 2 out. This is a good infield we got out there defensively.
It's no doubt the best infield we can put out there on a daily basis.
So here's Kendrys. Morales hitting at 280, 11 homers, but he's knocked in, as Steve told you. 61 runs.
They took a gamble on a guy who had a down year last year, and it's turned into gold.
Well, you could see they have a fine young, better than fine. He's a very good general manager in Dayton. You can see this club coming. You could just see him coming. And last year things came together for him. Came within 1 out of winning the big boy trophy, the World Series.
Probably 4 years ago, Dayton Moore told me that they would be very, very competitive in 2015. So I believe even they surprised him with how quickly things came together last year. You run the kind of bullpen they run out there, and then put together just enough offense with pretty decent pitching. James Shields was their #1 last year, and he went to free agency, but it's a big upgrade. Billy Butler was a good player. I don't think he could do near as much as Kendrys Morales can do these days.
Up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Outfield for the most part straight up. Small gap out there in left center. He will chase the high heat.
That's from both sides of the plate. So he's got the same weakness either as a right or as a left-hand hitter.
He's got a much better chance of catching up to it from the right side than he does from the left. There you go. Fix it. Had him off balance, had him off on that front foot. It's amazing, one of the definitive unanswered questions in baseball. Why are left-handed hitters better low ball hitters than right-handed hitters? High pop up. Ivy comes on, and that'll return to the side. They get the leadoff single. Can't do anything with it. After half inning of play, it's Kansas City 0, and the good guys coming to bat.
This evening, Adam Eaton leading it off. Then it's Gordon Beckham, Melky Cabrera, Jose Abreu. As you can see, it's safely in 13 of his last 14 with Adam LaRoche, Avisail Garcia, Tyler Flowers, Carlos Sanchez, and Tyler Saladino playing shortstop and hitting 9. The defense and how they'll line up behind Edinson Volquez. Orlando, Kane, and Rios in the outfield with Coleman, Escobar, Infante, and Hosmer in the infield. Salvador Perez, who sat out the first game behind the plate. and Edinson Volquez on the hill. He's 8-4 this year. His ERA a very respectable 3.31 on for the 19th start. Opponent's hitting just 2.31. That's a good number. 80 strikeouts, 39 walks. Just a 2-to-1 walk to strikeout ratio. That's okay, not great. And he has allowed only 8 home runs, so by and large he's kept the ball in the ballpark.
And before we show you our picks to click you at home, select yours, as here's Adam Eaton, 1 for 3 in the first game. Of course, that was a long home run by Adam. There's a bullet. Nice pick right there by Omar Infante. So that's a hang wolf 'em.
Doesn't seem to matter what Infante hits. He's just part of an outstanding defensive unit. And that was a one-hop rocket. I think Eaton thought he hit it hard enough that he'd wind up at first base, but it was not to be.
Well, are there better second basemen in the league than Omar? Yes. He fits right in perfectly with this Kansas City ball club. They needed one, and they got a good one. He's a good second baseman. And last year, he had some big hits for this ball club. He's not afraid to beat you in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning. So here's Gordon. Checks it up and takes ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A couple of years ago, Infante was an excellent player with the Tigers. He had 318 2 years ago.
And got big bases for them.
But they decided to move him along.
Well, they've got a good one right now, Ian Kinsler.
They got a real good one.
He is one of the best.
They had a pretty good idea they were going to make that trade to get Prince on his way to Texas.
That's off. Volquez, who's got time, takes it, makes it, and that's another hang wolf 'em. So 2 hard hit balls and 2 out.
Now, as a rule of thumb, and that one hit the hand of Volquez. But if you're turned around on your follow through, you can't really defend yourself very well.
Don't go there.
So we'll take a look at it. There's Volquez falling off the mound. Really hard to get hit in the thumb and the butt, because that has to be facing the hitter for it to do that.
No, that's not in the Mark Burley school of defending the mound.
No. But for whatever reason, he decided to put his throwing hand behind him, and guy can easily break a thumb like that.
I imagine he's got a little numbness in it right now. Said he's okay. And that'll bring up Melky. Melky 0 for 3 in the first game. 5 for 19 lifetime off Volquez with a homer. And before this game, it was nice to see a lot of the members of the 05 World Championship Chicago White Sox here for a nice weekend celebration. 10th anniversary already. The 0-1 pitch. And that ball here, we had 3 hard hit balls, and that figures right at him. Mercy. Meanwhile, after 1-0 score.
looked at. Looks like it hit the base of the thumb. That's something that could easily get a little sorer as we move through this game. But in the meantime, he should thank his defense for that first inning, because as usual they were brilliant.
So here's Salvador Perez hitting at .262, 15 homers, 38 knocked in. Takes first pitch strike. Perez did not play in the first game. 4 for 19 lifetime off Danks. And with those 4 hits, 2 of them stayed in the park. Good pitch, change up. Had him out in front.
So if you want to tweet us, you can tweet Hawk at Hawk Harrelson and me at Steve Stone. You never know, you just might get one or a couple of your questions answered.
Here's Infante, takes first pitch strike. Omar, 234, no homers, 25 knocked in. And that's a little looper, and that's going to fall. There's a typical Kansas City hit. They don't strike out very much. In fact, they lead the major leagues and by far fewest strikeouts.
That's a good changeup. It's not even in the strike zone, and yet Infante able to get a little bit of the bat on it. So he's aboard with 1 out.
Yeah, that's part of their arsenal. As long as you put the ball in play, which they do. Coming into today's action, they've struck out 501 times. Only 2 teams have struck out less than 600. Boston, I believe, had 584. Every other team in Major League is well over 600. Put it in play, you got a chance. Rios, Alex. Alex 1 for 3 in the first game. A walk, ground out to short, a home run, and a fly out to right. That home run was just the second of the year. His first one came on opening day. And of course, that was against us. That change up down low. Now field straight up. About equidistant in the spacing. Count evens at 2.
When Alex was with Toronto, he was a 2-time All-Star in 2006, 2007. He played right field every day, and the man to his right in center field was Vernon Wells, one of the better center fielders at the time in all of baseball. And they provided a whole lot of offense and defense for the Blue Jays in those years.
There you go.
He just got outguessed because he took a fastball right down the middle, undoubtedly thinking that John was going to use that straight change, and this just froze him. Wouldn't pull the trigger on a fastball down the middle at 91.
And it's nice to see our pitching staff giving Tyler a lot of credit for the success. They have been pitching their behinds off.
Well, he calls a terrific game, and the pitchers have confidence in him. And when you see a guy not shaking off the catcher, you know that they're in sync. There you see the numbers for Orlando. He's not going to walk very much, but he can really run.
Yes, he can. He can cover some ground out there in left field. Plus, they just called him up not too long ago in his first game. Hit a walk-off grand slam home run. Former Sox farmhand out of Brazil. Two out, 2-0 the count. Close pitch, didn't get it. 3-0. There's one. Dusty Coleman, the third baseman, on deck. Hit him on the fist, pops him up, and that'll retire the side. So nothing across. We go to the bottom of the second, no score.
Only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/White Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
Abreu, LaRoche, Garcia. Jose hitting at .293, 14 homers, 46 knocked in, and 0 for 3 in the first game. Outfield, deep and swung around to the right. Hit him on the fist with a fastball. So 1 pitch, 1 out. And with 1 out, let's check out our picks to click. Dimancio, our director of recruitment, really on the title. So he's going with Carlos Sanchez, and got to give big kudos. Wait till you see the rings, replica rings tomorrow. Mike Spidelli and his group have done a magnificent job this year. As a matter of fact, this is the best giveaways we have ever seen. They have been fantastic.
I think they're absolutely gorgeous. This was a year where there was very nice giveaways to the fans, but these rings are spectacular looking.
Well, they are. I mean, the whole season has been one of terrific giveaways, of quality giveaways, not tearaways, giveaways. I'll tell you, that's amazing.
A beautiful ring.
That's going to go to the first 20,000, 21 and over tomorrow. So I would suggest to get one of those. Maybe a touch early. Here's Adam, 223, 9 homers, 33 knocked in. That is foul and not playable. Adam has faced Volquez 22 times, has 7 hits, 1 one of which left the premises.
There's a couple of guys up on the stairs behind you that you might recognize. That's Ozzy's best side.
There's a pair to beat a full house right there. Pods and Ozzy. They're going to be on with us. Top half of the third. And that's out of play. Put us on the board right here. That's too high. 2-2.
Volquez had his best year with Cincinnati back in 2008.
And right 2. Wrong man. So 2 down. I mentioned Escobar, one of the better shortstops in this league. And I think now, though, that the Reigns being the best shortstop defense we've seen, has to go to Iglesias.
There's no doubt. Just defense.
Yeah, just
Iglesias
defense.
has got it all together, but I'll tell you something. Give him a year, maybe this year, all the next year. Carlos Correa overall will be about the best, maybe the best in baseball, certainly the best in this league.
Well, he's got a chance to really be a terrific article, and it was so true by Bob Nightingale. He's got a chance to be down the road, face of baseball.
Yeah, he's got every skill you could possibly need to not only be good, but to be outstanding for many, many years. So the Astros have gotten themselves a good one.
He's a big guy. He's Cal Ripken size. Don't weigh as much, but he's hung that one. Ivy 1 for 3 in the first game, hitting at .273, 7 homers and 31 knocked in.
Volquez went 17-6 in 2008, and last year with Pittsburgh he was pretty good. He was 13-7, an ERA in the 3s.
Just got a piece of it. Yeah, this is going to be something. Make your plans to be with us here tomorrow and Sunday. A lot of celebration of the world champion 2005 White Sox. And deservedly so. Two and two.
A lot of activities, not only at the ballpark but around town. The championship parade is tomorrow, Sunday, at the Chicago Theater. A season to remember. That should be really wonderful to see. Monday, the charity golf business in high gear with the Field of Greens outing. That's at Harborside International. For more information, whitesox.com.
So a full count. That ball hit hard in the gap. Kane's not going to get that one. So he's going to turn it on. That big man can pick him up and put him down, and he will get there. That is his first triple of the season. And you can cancel the post-game show because that's our first hit.
Our Mazda replay will show you one on the outside part of the plate. It was a strike. And Avi was able to go and hit the daylights out of it. Now he's thinking 3 bases. This is the for sure double, but he's getting a little greedy, realizing that he can probably outrun the arm of Kane and Infante. And that he did. He went into third base without a play.
So here's Tyler. Well, that's from the George Brett School of Base Running right there. George Brett, Hall of Fame third baseman. My all-time favorite player to watch play. Every time he hit a ball, he left the box thinking it was a double. And if he knew it was a conceded double, he thought it was a triple. And he never deviated from that in his career.
Tyler's been hitting it a little better lately. And he was even arrested in the first game as Gio Soto did the honors behind the plate. Got up to 98 degrees during the first game. It's at 88 now.
Breaking ball. Out in front and the count 1-1. That man is good behind the plate.
He's excellent in just about every aspect of the game, but like most catchers, he doesn't run well. He doesn't have to because he's a leader. He's hard to steal on. He does get some big hits for these Royals. And you got to think about him. If he's in the on-deck circle, you got to think about what you're doing with a guy ahead of him, because Perez can hit.
Two out and the 2-1 pitch. Well, we talked about it so often. It just changes the whole mindset of a pitcher. When you got a catcher back there, you can go ahead with a man on third and throw your best breaking.
The catchers that go out and tell you that are few and far between, but many of the guys with a lot of confidence will do it. And then if your slider's a put away pitch or your curveball's a put away pitch, the best is usually in the dirt as a wipeout pitch.
There's a shot base hit. That boy Tyler. So Ivy's going to score on the single by Flowers, and it's a 1-0 Sox lead.
This is a pretty good pitch, and Tyler Flowers can hit a slider, especially one that doesn't break all that sharply. And all this is low and away, but it doesn't have the sharp late break. And Tyler was able to gauge it all the way, getting it over Coleman's head at third base. And the Sox break out on top.
So here's Carlos hitting at 181. No homers. He's driven in 11. Good hack at that, just underneath. There's a gap out there in right center if he can find it. Tyler, pretty good speed. Took something off, had him off balance. And Dusty Coleman makes a nice catch, but we get on the board and we'll go to third. It's Ozzie and Scotty Pods up next.
the man to my far right, Scotty Posednik, and of course, the inimitable Ozzie Guillen to my immediate right. And I will tell you, in 2005, they never would have won it without one of these guys. Not going to tell you which one, so you figure it out. Guys, how you doing?
We him. I'm not scoring any runs. I'm not hit. I was sitting there watching them play.
Well, it's great to see you guys back. I know this is going to be a pretty exciting weekend, and you guys can see a lot of the guys you haven't really seen a whole lot of, maybe at Sox Fest or some other places. So as far as events are concerned, when's your guys' first event, or have you had your first event already?
Well, we had some media earlier today, a chance to get out on the field and see some of the guys I haven't seen in a while. So I've been looking forward to this week for a while now. Like I've always said in the past, you create a special bond with the people you grind and win a World Series with. So it's fun to be back in the city.
Ozzie, during that year, when you were starting to put things together with the ball club, at first it wasn't all that easy. Then things got very good and your pitching staff got hot. When did you have a strong feeling that this team might be something special, something that you personally hadn't seen before?
Well, I think in the beginning when you make the lineup and everybody go about the business the right way, that's why you are the manager. You say, you know what? I like this team. We might not win the World Series, but that's the team I would love to manage. Nobody it was big in the game. Everybody was doing their job. Nobody was complaining about anything. In spring training, you find out what kind of ball club you're going to have. You're going to have a bunch of crybabies, or you're going to have people, they go there about their pitching no matter, regardless what happened, what inning you're going to take them out, how many at-bats you're going to get, how many pitches you're going to have. Because you have a lot of those. So, I only going to get 2 at-bats. Now you're going to have one. These guys, from the beginning, it was easier to monitor. I'm not saying we're going to win the World Series then, but I think everybody knows the responsibility they have and what they have to do to be good about it.
Well, one of the things that impressed me about that ball club was the fact that, as you say, they played it the right way. Pods would get on, Gucci would get him over, somebody would get him in, all of a sudden, poof, we got a 1-0 lead.
Well,
and the chemistry on that ball club was fantastic.
You know what? You have chemistry when you're winning. That's no doubt about it. But remember, Kenny bring a lot of if. In the air it was a lot of if. But I think Kenny did a tremendous job to put a lot of if together. They got to show us. They got to show baseball in general who we are, what we do. You remember Konerko come with okay gear. Poseni come from Milwaukee. Iguchi, we never see him play. We know AJ. Everybody hated besides Hawk and Hermanson.
Well, nothing's changed, by the way. Consistency is the key here.
Yeah, and the other song is going one of my best friends, JD. We got a lot of if. Rowan come with a bad year. Creed is the baby. Garland never pitched up. It's a lot of if. I think Kenny did a tremendous job. Don't put this thing on the field, but everybody. Like I just talked to Duke a couple of minutes ago. From the first day we had the meeting to the first day we take the field, like I say, we win games or championship in spring training, but you can see what kind of ball club you're going to have.
That was one of the big moments for me in that run in the playoffs when the bases loaded, nobody out at Fenway Park, and El Duque was warming up, and I'm sitting home saying, "Don't bring him in."
Well, that's his fault. And he can get loose.
Ozzie brings him in, and 3-2 pitch to Johnny Damon. I said, if he throws him a breaking ball down, he cannot check it up. And sure enough, poof, and he got out of it. He had some stones that big.
Yeah, well, I remember when Kenny was making all the move and we were making the playoff roster. McCarthy was throwing the ball very well. I told Kenny, remember when you bring Duque, what we want him here for. He's the only guy with experience in the playoff. And he did. It's a funny thing about it, but Duque won't be any part of that. He never come out of the bullpen, but he couldn't get loose. That's why I said, you're going to bring me with bases loaded? I said, well, I will bring you with nobody on, but you can get loose. Then I had to put I'm not going to say the wrong guy, the guy I had ready for the game in that particular time.
Scotty, how about your home run? That had to be the thing, the defining moment.
No question. As I look out there and see that blue seat out there in right center, it never gets old, and it gives me goosebumps every time I think about it.
Well, there's a look at it. I bet you that wind was blowing in 50 miles an hour, and you just hit it right through the teeth of the wind.
Right, just cut the wind right through it.
But it's a funny thing. I'm just watching the video, and I see the team get excited. We got excited before. No, we popped running, but we did it in the past. We come back from the past because we play great defense. We got the big hit. I say, well, you got the big hit. No, our pitching staff and our defense give us opportunity to get the big hit.
Well, we'll never see, I don't think, again, 4 consecutive complete games by anybody. It takes a strong pitching coach, a strong manager to allow that. You're not going to see that again.
Our pitching staff set the tone for us from day one. As an offense, we knew if we could come to the park, manufacture a run here or there, get Canerco or Jermaine to pop one out of the ball, we had a pretty good chance of winning a ball game. So that was our identity, based on pitching and defense, and then offensively we can put up 2, 3, 4 runs, and we figured we could go win a ball game.
Well, that ball club was 15.5 games in front of Cleveland one time, got down to a game and a half, and then Ozzie did something that we'll never forget. He had a meeting in Kansas City with the media after that, took the pressure off a lot of the players. They weren't going to some of the guys saying, why can't you drive and run? Lou Piniella this day said it's one of the greatest moves he's ever seen a manager make, taking all the pressure off of him.
I remember after that series, we're down to a game and a half, and everybody's kind of looking at each other in the clubhouse saying, there's no way we're going to let this happen. And I think we go into Cleveland and we sweep those guys, and then we
sweep them easy.
Yeah,
swept them easy.
Yeah, Jermaine. I remember hitting that big home run, I think, in that first game, and we gained momentum from there and rode it all the way into.
Well, another thing that might not ever happen again. We'll see. You had 3 closers that year, and won a world championship with 3 closers.
Well, because I think, in my opinion, you need closer to give him the responsibility. But I think closing games is not an easy thing to do, and when you say you're going to be the closer, sometimes you have the lefty. You want your lefty face that lefty, but you have the closer. You got to whip with him. But it was fun because I remember telling Bobby Jenks and say, if you do everything we told you to do, I don't got involved with the White Sox system told you to do, you're going to be in the big league pretty soon. And he did. And he did it so great because we put him in the spot to have success. We put him in the spot to be good every night, to build his confidence, to build can be the guy. And after he got the job, it was great.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We had we had Shingo started it off, and then Dustin Hermanson, after he fell down a little bit, Shingo, he came in, he picked up 34 quick saves. Then his back went out. And to have a rookie come in, that was the thing that shocked us all, I think, Scotty Pies, was have a rookie come in and do the job that Bobby Jenks did. Will always have a place in our heart.
On that, no question. No question. His presence out there when he took the mound, just his body language out there, we had confidence in him, and I think that helped him, and he went out and he did it.
Well, Ozzie put a guy out there who never relieved before he was a starter.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't have any choice. And that's when you are confident about your ball club. You not hesitate to make any move. You're going to fail. As a manager, you're going to fail a lot of moves you make with the same people. But I have so much confidence in the players there was on the field and bullpen. It seemed like a crazy move, but it worked. And it worked because I have a lot of confidence. People forget. We suspend Marte. Then Marte's not on the field for a little while. All of a sudden, first day in, he's pitching. And people thought we was crazy. I said, no, I want to know what kind of Marte we're going to give back. And he struck out the size. And after that, I said, you know what? This is the Marte we want. No, I say, I want. We is a team because we need him. We cannot win without Marte pitching for us. And we got him, and we got it for good for a little while. But I think it was a big reason. Neil Koch, Police. It's a people not remember. To me, Ozuna, Timo, Willie, there was a big part. Even there was playing every day. There was a big part because that's the people you count with most. Because when you make the lineup, you expect something from the starters. But from the guys on the bench, that's a big question mark.
One thing about it, that club had fun. That club had fun on the field. They played. They had fun out there, and it had some of the best chemistry. The '83 White Sox had some great chemistry. When they started off 14-26, wound up winning 99 games. Our club that year wound up winning 99 games, but the best thing about it, to go 11-1 is that ball in the dirt. To go 11-1 in postseason play, you got to be on top of your game, and you guys were.
We had different role players. Everybody understood what was expected of them, and everybody understood their specific role. And we came to the ballpark each and every night and focused on that. We didn't go out trying to do things we weren't capable of doing. We knew who we were as a club. We had an identity, and we went out and stayed within ourselves and played our particular game that night.
Well, he just mentioned a name from the past, Timo. Timo got a couple of big hits for us.
It's one thing about it is our coaching staff was great. You know what I mean? Our coaching staff, most of the time, I have to deal.
That ball hit deep. We got a man there. Scotty Pies. Well, no. Guys, thanks for stopping by. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right, guys.
We tried to. Good to be here.
Chi Sox game day, and you might be today's White Sox fan of the game. White Sox fan photo of the game is brought to you by Beggar's Pizza, now with 22 locations. Visit beggarspizza.com. Beggar's Pizza, they lay it on thick.
1-0 good guys here in the bottom of the third inning. It'll be Tyler Saladino to lead it off, then back to the top of the order with Adam Eaton. Tyler 2 for 4 in game one, comes in at 286. As we mentioned in game one, down to Charlotte. Played short, played second, played third. Terrific range, good arm. And he is going to be a good major league player. Two 2-0 the count. It was great to see those guys, I tell you.
It's going to be a wonderful weekend for the fans and for all the players associated with that team. They get a chance to interact as a group again, something you don't see very often.
Well, it's going to be hard to put in words ever to describe what Ozzie meant to that ball. Especially when we went on a skid. It's not that we were choking, we just weren't executing. We were not playing well. And Cleveland was playing magnificent baseball. They had to be to come 14 games back from 15.5 to 1.5. And then we went in there and that 3-game series and just easily won 3 in a row.
That was it. Bye-bye Cleveland.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Good swing. Just got a piece of it. And it was just great during the break there to see Mansuli, one of the coaches, the bullpen coach in 05. He was the Babe Ruth of Korean baseball. Broke the league record in home runs over there. Last 4 years have been managing. That's off the glove, and that's going to be a base hit. So the leadoff man aboard.
Volquez didn't time this one particularly well. It's a hanging curveball. And really, I think with that half-inch vertical leap, he's going to have some problems with little choppers over his head.
Well, he's going to have to learn that with that guy at shortstop, he's better off letting those soft high hoppers go.
Well, I guarantee you when he delivered the baseball, he did not know where Escobar was, or he might have let that one go.
So here is Adam. He hit a rocket one hopper right to Infante at second. Yeah, that 05 club really had some fun, as did the 1983 Sox. Takes the bunt, takes a strike. He did not like the call, but it was close.
Ozzie said something that was really interesting and right on the point when he talked about chemistry. Winning will breed good chemistry. As you continue to win together, the chemistry of the team is going to get a whole lot better. I haven't seen great chemistry on the last place team yet.
No, I've seen chemistry on clubs that finished in the middle of the pack, though, who weren't supposed to even finish in the middle of the pack. That'll happen. And today, in today's game, even more so than 10 years ago in 2005, chemistry is more important than it's ever been. Those guys are making more money than they've ever made. There's where managing is tougher today than it's ever been because of that.
You've got to be able to make your extra players, as they call them, non-starters, guys in the bullpen that don't work all the time. You've got to find a way to make them feel like they're a big, important part of the team.
Good breaking ball. Down and in. That's going to get a lot of them right there. One out. That's the first strikeout for Volquez. No. When you're winning, chemistry is real good. But the key is having some sort of chemistry even when you start to go bad or you're going bad, so that you can come out of it a little quicker. And that's easier said than done. That's why good hitters, when they go into slumps, they don't last as long. Watch out. And good pitchers, when they get knocked around for a while, that doesn't last as long as it does for a lot of them. And managers the same way. Good managers, their slumps aren't as long.
Got to be very careful with Perez behind the plate on a secondary lead you take on any base. The reason is that he doesn't hesitate to throw anywhere at any time. And probably he's the latter day incarnation of Yadier Molina, and as good as Yadier's been his whole career, he loves to throw to first base. And especially with the left-hand hitter up, you go behind the left-hand hitter.
Tyler has a good lead over there. He was 25 for 27 in the stolen bases at Charlotte. That off-speed pitch, 83, grabs the strike. Yeah, as long as I've been in this game, it's great to have your memory banks opened up every now and then, and certainly this weekend is going to do that for me. That curveball. Gordon 0 for 1, hit the ball very hard back to Volquez. Knocked it down and threw him out off his pitching thumb. Get that gap out there, Gordon. Got that one by him at 94.
Sox fans celebrate a special birthday or anniversary or even host a business function in a Diamond Suite at a White Sox game. Diamond Suites can accommodate 10 to 100 guests. Packages include great food, beverages, and parking passes. To purchase, visit whitesox.com/group.
There's Melky. He hit a rocket right down to Hosmer in the first inning. First three guys scored. Coming up empty. Made a good pass at that. Fouled it away left side. Watch out. He's going to pick it up and throw him out, but that ball absolutely another hang woofum. Bar Cabrera is hurting.
And click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner for the latest stats and information. The Sox Game Zone is powered by Robert Morris University, Illinois, offering over 55 athletic teams, more than any other university in the state. For more information on RMU, visit robertmorris.edu.
1-0 Sox. 1-3-0 for us. 0-2-0 for them here in the top of the fourth inning in Game 2 of this day-night doubleheader, as the Royals took Game 1 4-2. Here's Morales. Kenby's popped up to Ivy in right field. Breaking ball low and away. That evens the count. That's off the end of the bat. And softly hit into center field.
Ladies' night at U.S. Cellular Field will be Saturday, August 1st. White Sox are offering specially priced tickets to all female fans, and the first 500 buyers will receive a complimentary White Sox wine tumbler. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/ladies.
So the leadoff man aboard, and his Salvador Perez. He popped up. Sanchez at second. High in the left field. And that is what you call a just missed. So here's Infante. He singles softly into right center. All three of their hits been very soft, and that's typical for this ball club. It's part of their game. They don't strike out, which they don't. You're going to get a lot of hits up.
Morales is not going to run at first base, so Adam, if he wants to play the line, he's over by the line. You got to be careful not to come off too far. You'll see that LaRoche is playing in front of the bag and in front of Morales, who has yet to try to steal a bag this year. He just doesn't run all that well.
And that's popped up to left. Tyler making the call, has the ball. 2 down. And that'll bring up Alex Rios. Struck out, called out on a fastball. We mentioned Kansas City leading all of baseball in the fewest strikeout department. 501. Boston is second in all of baseball with 581. Down low. Got a couple of clubs with over 700. Back, we got 4 clubs over 700. Seattle, Tampa Bay, 741. Texas at 703. Baltimore at 717. A lot of missed chances. Fewer strikeouts in the National League. San Francisco with 618, Atlanta with 610, Cincinnati was 616. Those are at least 3 lowest. Three and 1 to count with 2 down here in the top of the 4th. 1-0 Sox. Watch out.
Boy, the head of that bat went flying into the seats.
Well, we're seeing with that maple bat too many times. That's one of the hardest and most dangerous you will see right there.
Yeah, Alex was left with just a handle, and that one went pinwheeling back up in the seats, but it appears that everyone is okay. And that's really amazing because that one went back there in a hurry.
So 2 out, 3 and 2 the count. Just off the inside corner. Danks wanted to pitch. Did not get it.
Second walk of the ball game for Johnny Danks, and the Xfinity pitch tracks will show you that it's very close. And Tyler Flowers does a nice job of easing the ball back in the zone, but it was off the plate.
Tyler thought it was. Catchers will tell you.
If they believe it's there, they're just going to frame it. They're going to keep that glove right there to show it to the umpire. But if you see a little wrist shift, or sometimes just a yank back into the zone, you got a pretty good idea that they thought it was off the plate.
So here's Paulo Orlando. Good rip at that one.
Paulo does get a base hit to right field. It's going to be very difficult for Morales to score from second on Javi's arm.
Just hit hard to left, the same thing. Adam fairly deep out there in center.
I think John might have got his heel caught on the front part of the mound on that last pitch because he came off fairly awkwardly, and then he made some adjustment to the clay in the landing area. See it down there because you got a right and a left-hander. Sometimes it's not quite as smooth as you'd like.
That changeup flared into the seats in right field. 87 degrees as we speak. This afternoon in game 1, it got as high as 98.
There's a young lady who hasn't started enjoying it quite yet. Would like to see a few more runs on the board in the Sox column.
Good pitch. Right underneath his hands. It is always a good spot to go.
See where Tyler wants it. He wants the cutter up. He got it just about where he wanted it. And not much Orlando could do with that.
Just did get a piece of it, so the count hangs at 1 and 2 with 2 down, 2 on here in the top of the 4th.
That curveball by John was one of the best curveballs he's thrown tonight. That was reminiscent of a couple of starts ago when he had just an outstanding curveball. He's 4-0 against this Royal team in this ballpark and 8-1 overall against the Royals. So he's had a pretty good run at it against Kansas City.
Ball's hit hard, but meanwhile, count hangs at 1 and 2. changeup, and that'll return to the side. We'll go to the bottom of the fourth. Abreu to lead it off.
Take on the Royals. The first 20,000 fans ages 21 and over will receive a 2005 World Series replica ring presented by Miller Lite. It's the official light Pilsner and official beer of your Chicago White Sox. Purchase tickets today by visiting whitesox.com/promos. And that ring is absolutely gorgeous.
Abreu grounded out to Escobar at short. Volquez hit him on the fist with a fastball. That ring, to me, from what I've seen and can remember, that's the best premium I've ever seen in a ballpark. Ever.
I think the people are going to be astonished when they open up that package and see that beautiful ring, which really just jumps right out at you.
One and one to count. Close pitch, didn't get it. And it's 2-1.
Volquez probably thinks he's got a target on him. He's been hit very hard once and fairly hard the other time.
Three and one. He could have done something about the first one. The second one, he couldn't have done anything about.
No, off the bat of Melky, that was a rocket.
And there is the leadoff walk. Another close pitch. First walk issued by Volquez, and that'll bring him Adam. Grounded out to short.
Many times when a pitcher gets hit a couple of times, he has a hard time with the outside corner to a right-hand hitter if he's a right-hand pitcher, because that's the area, whether it's a fastball or a slider, that's the area that comes right back to you if a guy gets a good piece of it. So Infante went in to have a word with Volquez and see if anything was bothering him. He seemed most unhappy with that particular walk to Abreu.
Here's a strike. Well, that's happened to a lot of pitchers. I played with a guy that they were deathly afraid of. That's one reason he had so many home runs. And he walked a lot. And his name was Frank Howard. They did not want to throw Hondo anything down and away.
You can understand it as far as he could hit the ball and as hard as he could hit it.
Nobody could hit it hard.
Because he was, I mean, he was a giant by yesteryear standards.
We roomed together. He was 6'7", 303 pounds with a 36-inch waist. He's the strongest man I've ever seen in this game, period. Bo Jackson being probably second. Modified shift. Out in front, hooks it. And count 1 and 2. Bottom of the 4th at the Great American Ballpark. Cincinnati leading Cleveland 4-0. Detroit, bottom of the 7th at Comerica Park, leading Baltimore 7-3.
That Cincinnati game was delayed for quite some time. They also are delayed in Washington.
Two down. Check that. 1 down. Adam now 0 for 2.
After setting him up with the slider, they just threw a fastball by him, and he threw it exactly where he wanted to. Upstairs. Uppercut swing. Can't catch up with that one up there.
Well, with 2 strikes, we've been seeing Adam. They either going hard high or slow low. No strikes, so to speak.
No, he's one of the left-handers that can't hit the high pitch, he can't lay off it, and so that's where most of the guys will go with it.
Here's Avi. Hit a bullet into right center field for his first triple of the season. That coming with 2 out in the 2nd inning. Then he scored on the base hit by Tyler Flowers. Josh Donaldson at it again. Picked up his 22nd homer. Toronto leading Tampa Bay 6-2. There's a shot, almost dehorned him right there. He's got a, I'll tell you what, he's a lucky man right there. Very lucky.
When you fall off the mound and you can't protect yourself, you're going to have nights where things just keep whistling by you. Now he says, no big deal, and Infante questions him, but this one came very close to hitting him in the face. He falls off the mound and he's literally defenseless.
Looks like they got him on the side of the arm or side of the hand. But he was very, very fortunate right there.
Well, Salvi Perez comes out to talk with him now, and that's 3 shots.
Well, you know they work with him on PFP. They got to.
You can.
He's going to get killed.
Well, I was going to say, you can only work on it so long. I mean, usually they hit the ball back to you after you simulate a throwing motion, but because he falls off so drastically to the first base side, his back is to the hitter almost immediately after delivering the ball.
I told you we had a guy on the club back in the early 80s, in the 83 team. Every time we went to the mound, we were scared to death. Anytime a strong right-handed hitter came up and he threw him one way, and that was Britt Burns. Could not defend himself. But he could pitch.
Our fourth drive of the game, and the difference in this game to this point is the base hit that drove in run number 22 for Tyler, and the first and only run of the ball game to this point.
One ball, one strike. One more time, Tyler. Out and around it over into our dugout, and that Dodger 2-1 lead over Washington. Game delayed in the bottom of the fourth inning. Bryce Harper picked up his 62nd RBI.
Just one of the stable full of excellent young players around Major League Baseball. So the run expectancy, the Sox just about league average with runners at first and second and only one out.
Gus got a piece of that one. That one at 95. Two on, one out. Gotta hurry. Rack him up. And that'll do it. We're into the fifth. It is 1-0 White Sox.
Sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agent serving the area for 37 years. To join the nation, visit jeffvuk.com because Nationwide is on your side.
Top of the fifth inning. Dusty Coleman. Then back to the top of the order, Escobar and Hosmer. 1-4-0 for us, 0-3-0 for them.
Coleman made his major league debut as a pinch runner, getting a chance to start this second game.
Hobbs' first pitch up. Starts him off with a changeup. One pitch, one out.
Hey, Sox fans, on Saturday, August 1st, come and see the White Sox take on the Yankees at 6:10. First 20,000 fans will receive a Scott Posednik World Series moment bobblehead presented by Wintrust Community Bank. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Escobar has a soft single leading off the ball game into left field. Then he walked in the third. Turns around, fakes the bunt, and takes the strike.
I like the fact that Avi in right field is playing him very shallow over toward the line, taking away any of the dump shots that way. See how shallow he is.
Well, if every time he goes over Avi's head, he's going to hit 10 or 15 in front of him.
He's not going to go over his head too often.
No. Pitches inside.
Another good curveball by John as that ball just snapped low and in. Starting to get some very good late movement on the curve.
High and wide, 3-1. So for the second time, Escobar walks.
Escobar walked the lead off the first game. And with the 2 times tonight, he has walked a grand total of 17 times in 320 some at bats, 321 or 2 at bats. So suddenly he's become selective.
Here's Hosmer, a strikeout and a little looper to back him at third. There he goes, got him picked off. Puts it on him. He gone. That'll go down as a caught stealing.
This is a very good executed play. Tyler just runs right at him and forces him to commit. He's going to get him running as hard as he can back to first base. If he keeps on going, you flip it then to LaRoche. If not, you tag him yourself. The fewer throws, the better.
That was text.
Yes, you just did it perfectly well. And Escobar, who's aggressive but not a great base stealer, is just picked off.
As we talked about when Tyler came up, he knows how to play the game as well as anybody on our ball club. Good acumen, good baseball IQ. So does Gordon. There's Tyler. Two out, 2-1 to count. Plans to be with us tomorrow. Tyler's got it. And he gets it. Double clutch right there. Meanwhile, we're halfway home. We lead at 1-0. RBI single by Tyler Flowers. Knocked in Avi Garcia after Avi had triples with 2 out. So Sanchez, Saladino, then back to the top of the order with Adam Eaton. First pitch strike.
No, only in between innings. Only in between innings.
Out and around that one, tops a foul. Carroll Boston will make himself a new friend. That's the one he's got to lay off on.
That's exactly where Perez wanted it. And Volquez got it there.
It's amazing how many small guys have trouble laying off the high fastball.
It looks real good. You just can't catch up to it.
Breaking ball, that's high. So full count. There's a shot base hit. Orlando gets it back in. And the leadoff single by Sanchez.
Good way to lead off the 5th inning as he takes this pitch, goes right with it. It's a fastball down the middle and takes it right over Coleman's head. Be a good situation to test out if Tyler Saladino is capable of a hit and run. He looks like he's well schooled enough to be able to put the bat on the ball.
Well, he knows what to do, how to do it, but he's not going to execute every time. Nobody else. Takes that pitch off the plate. That was on his plate. And the count 0-1. It was close. Gordon Baker's had a good game. Watch out. Just back in. You have got to be on your toes with that man right there. He loves to throw.
And it also takes away at least a step on the secondary lead. That could eventually turn into either a force play or getting thrown out where you otherwise wouldn't. So Salvi Perez, not only offensively, but he's a very, very big weapon behind the plate defensively.
And the count 0-2. Lays off of it. Good checkup. Tyler had an infield single leading off the 3rd inning. It's a fair ball. They're not going to be able to turn it. So they get the leadoff man one down.
Pretty nice play by Coleman as he makes an accurate throw to Infante, but with the speed of Saladino, the only thing that Infante could have done was get himself in trouble by making this throw. He was content with the force and nothing doing at first base.
Adam has grounded very hard. Bullet to Infante at second and struck out. Got him on a good breaking ball down and in. Huge gap out there in right center.
That fake bunt brought Coleman well in at third base. There is an astonishing amount of room in right center field. Kane is way over in the left center, and Rios is fairly close to the line and right.
There he goes. Got him. So 2 out. Hard to run on him.
It's very hard to run on him. He's quick and he's very accurate, even with a good jump, and that was a very good jump. This throw is there, and Tyler slides right into the tag. There's nothing else he could do.
Souvenir left side. Three balls and a strike. The only man really meant to light him up right here. A shot. All he had to do was just get it up. He hit it hard enough to get it out. Meanwhile, Adams
got 7 home runs this year, including a big one in the first game. But that by far is a career high because he came into this season with 6 major league home runs. And he's been swinging the bat very well over the last few weeks. That keeps the inning alive and allows Gordon Beckham an opportunity.
That breaking ball right off the end of the bat. Got to get Gordon going with the lumber. Volquez, 32 years old, 6 feet, 220 pounds. Just a decent lead. It was almost a good pitch to hit. Count evens at 1. This time there's a big gap in left center. 27 doubles last year. Let's see another one right now. One hopper over our dugout. A little bigger lead now. That's high and wide, 2-2. Tomorrow, replica rain day, and it is a beauty. It'll be Jose Quintana against Jeremy Guthrie. That game, if you can't make it to the ballpark, will be over Comcast Sportsnet. High right side. And he drops it. Rios got there.
That wasn't that difficult to play. That should be ruled E9.
Yeah.
For some reason, he decides to employ the basket catch. And it goes E9. He really never even got much of a glove on it.
Once again, the 2-2. And it's full.
Little adjustment to the chain around Volquez's neck.
And the payoff pitch. Free hopper. Escobar's got him, and that'll retire the side. We have completed 5. We lead at 1-0.
Subway to 97999 right now for your chance to win 6 meals from the Simple 6 menu from Subway. Message and data rates may apply. Subway, eat fresh.
Top of the 6th inning, it'll be Kane, then Morales, and then Perez. Kane 0 for 2. He's hit into a 5-4 fielder's choice, and then he flied deep to center. Takes that well outside.
Third time through the order and middle of the order. This is a big inning for Johnny Danks, who's thrown the ball very well early in his game.
Good change. Good motion.
You're looking at some pretty impressive numbers to this point.
And that's a strike right on the inside corner. So 1-2. That ball right where it was pitched. So the leadoff single.
Kane had a big first game, and now he's gotten on. That fastball was down the middle. Johnny very unhappy with himself. He just realized he got too much of the plate, and Kane is too good a hitter to miss one there. Got to induce a ground ball here because Morales has grounded into 13 double plays this year. That's tops on the ball club.
He's 1 for 2. A pop up to right. And the single back to the middle.
Kane, their best base stealer, 17 of them. He's been caught just 3 times.
Got a good lead. He just missed out. Oh boy, he absolutely. He's going to fake. Not on that arm. He's not going anywhere. Perfect peg. 1 out.
Looks to me like he might have just quick pitched with a short step and found Morales before he was really prepared for it, because he just missed it by an eyelash. There's the hitting coach, Dale Swaim, used to be a manager in the north side of this town.
Here's Perez 0 for 2. A pop up to second. He just missed one his last time up. High towering drive into left field.
Perez, another one of those guys that will ground into many double plays. He's second on the team.
There he goes. He had it stolen, and that is fouled back. That was a Lance Johnson jump.
There is a skipper of these Royals, Ned Yost.
I want to pay him a compliment because of the fact he knew he was playing Sox in a big series for us coming off the spring training. I mean, off the All-Star break in the All-Star game. Originally said he was definitely going to pitch Chris Sale, because that's into left field. He didn't come close to getting it. And now this time Melky with a perfect throw. That guys can throw. But then he said, he thought about it evidently and said, I will not pitch him. I'm not pitching him except in an emergency.
Well, I think it would have been a lot tougher for Chris Sale if this was just his first All-Star game, but being the 4th in a row and having been on that big stage before, he probably appreciated that. And now he's going to go Sunday against the Kansas City Ball Club in a very big game.
Infante. And a soft single in the right and a pop up to short. takes a strike. It had been very easy for him to let Casale go out there in that All-Star game, go 2 or 3 innings, and blow him off in the series. Now field slider to the right, gap in left center. And that's going foul. Slow low. And he gets him. We go to the bottom of the 6th, still leading 1-0.
Hit an awful lot. That one was off his throwing thumb. And the trainer takes a look at it. The next one, a line drive rocket by Melky, right off the hamstring area. That's going to leave a mark. And that one almost takes his face off. So he's had to dodge a few bullets tonight. And the Speed Replay is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
It looked like a paintball showdown right there.
Sometimes you want to ask for the pitching screen.
You ever play paintball?
I did.
Oh, I love it. We used to go every weekend. Here's Cabrera. Sometimes we just have that old Civil War lineup where you get about 50 yards apart, line them up in a whole line, and just go at it. See the last man standing is there. Here's a base hit. Get by it. He's going to give it a go. Here's the throw. Safe! Evidently, Infante missed the tag because it was a great throw by Paolo Orlando.
And Ned Yost wants to take another look at it. Melky given the safe sign, of course, as you figure he might. The ball actually beat him to the bag, and it looked like Melky doing whatever he could do to get away from the tag. This ball's hit awfully hard, and Orlando makes a terrific play. The fastball is up. Melky takes it the opposite way. And Orlando cuts it off, gets it back in. Looks like he didn't put the tag on him. The ball beat him, and he just did not put the tag on.
So he picks up his 13th two-bagger. And here's Abreu, who's grounded to short and walked. Makes first pitch strike. That one in 94. Close. 1-1. Big pitch right here. And it goes Jose's way. Out and around now.
Time he threw a changeup. Yeah, changeup inside, and there really wasn't anything Jose could do with it except hit it foul.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Stretch. Kane back. Makes the catch. I'll tell you, that guy has become one of the best in the business out there. As Melky tags and goes to third.
Jose hit it about as hard as you could hit it and keep it in the ballpark. This one's a changeup. It's low, it's down the middle, and Jose goes down and hits it a long way. Kane gets turned around, but he's tracking it, even though, as you see, he went straight back for a while, realizing this ball was probably hit a little harder than he thought, and that ball hit right over a center fielder's head is the most difficult to judge.
He has really become an outstanding player.
Now Jordan Baker is going to the mound to try to break this up. No activity in the Kansas City pen. This is just a meeting with what they want to do in this situation with Adam LaRoche up and an insurance run 90 feet away.
And Avi Garcia, who's hit 2 rockets, 1 for a triple, 1 for a single, on deck. Infield in. Adam is grounded to short, and he is struck out. Two down.
I don't think they're going to take a chance with Avi right here. He's just crushed the ball in the second and again in the fourth. They do have first base open. Now Dave Island comes out to figure out what they want to do. I think it's a no-brainer. But we'll see what the Royals decide.
Well, this day and age is getting to be less and less a pitcher's preference. For a long, long time, the manager would go out and say, who you want? You want Garcia or you want Flowers? That's up and in.
Well, one of the big problems with the pitch around is that you have a few pitches wind up in the dirt. So with a runner at third and 2 outs, Sox have delivered 20% of the time with the league average of 26. I'm just shocked that they're pitching to him at all. Volquez does have a couple of wild pitches this year.
If you don't want to face a guy, all you got to do is put up 4.
That's it. The confidence that Dave Island has is he can try to go around him.
Well, he's got a pretty good catcher back there. That's a factor as well. Want to pitch around Perez behind the plate. Some guys, And just on the outside corner, let her high. So they count 2-1.
To me, again, this makes no sense whatsoever. If I hadn't said it before, I wouldn't have mentioned it. But when you try to pitch around a guy and you have a good breaking ball, that happens. Cost him a run. And now it's a 2-0.
Well, we said, all you got to do is put up 4.
Perez couldn't get out in time. And that ball, the epitome of a wild pitch.
And there is ball 4. So the second walk issued by Volquez. And here's Tyler. Tyler's 1 for 2. Get a line shot single back in the second, knocking in Javi, who had tripled with 2 out. Then he hit into a 6-4-3 double play. One of the quirks about this game is that Edinson Volquez and Johnny Danks, the pitchers tonight, were roommates 4 straight years in the minor league.
They also have hooked up. This is the 3rd time this year they've gone head to head.
And again, we get a gift run right there. And we will go to the 7th. It is 2-0.
is accessible from the 100, 300, and 500 levels. Learn baseball fundamentals from Chicago White Sox Training Academy coaches in batting and the pitching cages, base running areas, and more. It's all from Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
Rios, Orlando, and Coleman, lower third of their order here in the top of the 7th inning. 2-7-0 for us, 0-4-1 for them, as there is first pitch, ball 1. Alex has struck out, called out on a fastball, and he walked. Yeah, but Danks and Volquez from Texas. Volquez said that Danks really helped, playing a big part in helping him learn English. He used to have a rule. He had to watch Telemundo. Danks had to watch Telemundo for an hour. Volquez had to watch cartoons for an hour. And he said, you listen, you listen, you listen. Keep repeating, and it helped me a lot. Here's the 1-2. Outfield straight up, spread out about equidistant.
There they are. One is working on becoming a jeweler, and the other is trying to win a ball game.
That fastball foul back.
Jake Petrichka starting to loosen up in the pen. Then he's about to deliver his 95th pitch.
Make him hit his way on, Johnny. Don't walk him. Change up misses. Four walks now. Thanks.
2 to Escobar and 2 to Rios.
And here is Paulo Orlando, a pop up to short and a strikeout, swinging on a 3-2 changeup.
Well, Tyler's going out there on instructions from the bench to allow Jake Petrichka a chance to get loosened up. Just his little walk to the mound, and now here comes Robin and his leisurely stroll. It's going to allow Petrichka to get another 15 warm-up pitches.
Well, Johnny told me before the game, he said, Hawk, get ready to call the gym because I'm going to give you one. And boy, did he ever. We needed him big time to come up big, and that's exactly what he did. All right, so Johnny Danks gets a big round of applause. Goes 6+, no runs, 4 hits. He departs, and we'll be back.
a descending 276 out for the 37th time. What's been really good about Jake is the fact that he's been throwing excellent sinkers, and in double play situations that comes in handy. So he inherits Rios at first base. Nobody out here in the top of the 7th inning, and he's got a 2-run lead to work with. And Johnny Danks with 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks, and a clean slate run-wise at this point, pending the outcome of Rios at first base.
Orlando, as I mentioned, has popped to second and struck out. Outfield straight up, spread out. Beckham, couple steps off the line, almost even with the bag at third. Saladino and Sanchez. Double play depth. All right, get the out, get the out. It almost threw it away.
Well, terrific play by Adam LaRoche, who's just an outstanding first baseman.
Man.
And Jake took his time, but Orlando's got big speed. This one could have easily gone into right field.
Beautiful play by Adam. Orlando was looking back to see if he knocked it out of his glove.
And Mike Moustakas is going to come out. Moustakas hit a home run in the 5th inning of the earlier game today. That was his 8th and 32nd driven in.
And that was a line shot right over the center field fence.
This is the first time all year that Moustakas has been used as a pinch hitter.
And here comes Robin. That slow walk. And here comes Jordan Baker.
I've been having an animated conversation with Jordan Baker, explaining to him that I just need 5 minutes out here to allow my man to get loose. Here comes Zach Duke, and as he runs in, we'll walk out and be back after these messages. 40th time. Opponents hitting just .234 against him, and he inherits. Alex Rios out at second base. There's one out here in the top of the 7th, and 2-0. Sox lead.
Outfield just slightly to the right, spread out, and there's first pitch strike. And the count 0-2. Alcides Escobar on deck. Cues it right off the end of the bat, holds the runner, and pegs him out. 2 down. Ball had a lot of spin on it.
Take another look as this ball comes off the end of the bat. Hits and bounds the other way. Normally, off the end of the bat, Gordon would think that it would be going toward the line. Instead, it came back towards the shortstop side, but he stayed right with it.
Escobar, soft single leading off the ball game. Then he walked his next 2 trips, 3rd and the 5th. A lot of times what causes that unusual bounce like that, which we've seen a few of them, is the grain of the grass. But we've seen a couple off the dirt here do the same thing. There's a strike. 0-2 the count.
2 good pitches, the first 2 to Escobar, who is yet to be retired tonight.
Get over there. He will, and that'll retire the side. 7th inning stretch, we lead it 2-0.
Around Major League Baseball.
Bottom of the 7th inning in a 2-0 Sox lead. Royals took game 1 4-2. First it'll be Sanchez, Saladino, and Eaton.
And Mike Moustakas stays in the game to play third base.
Carlos 1 for 2, lined a single into center field. That's high. Two and one. Detroit defeated Baltimore 7-3 at Comerica Park. That delay in Washington was not from weather. It was from an electrical malfunction. Washington now leading the Dodgers 3-2, bottom of the 5th inning. Yunel Escobar with a 2-run home. And there's a base hit.
Two for 3 for Sanchez, who's been heating it up lately, and with his glove and as well as he can play defense and show the kind of range he has, he gets that batting average up into the 240s. He's a huge addition to the ball club. He's done it primarily defensively to this point, but he's looking more and more comfortable with each passing day.
Here's Tyler. He's 1 for 2. Outfield around to the right. Big gap in left center. There's a bunt. Watch out. It's fouled.
Well, heads up play by Perez, not doing his own umpiring and thinking maybe he can steal a double play out of this.
Well, that's something that too many players, even today, they assume things. You're better off just doing exactly what Salvador did right there.
Go through with it. The umpire will tell you.
That'll get the job done. And he bobbles the ball, and they just do get him. So another nice bunt by Saladino.
Eric Hosmer came an eyelash from being charged with an error. And Saladino got a perfect bunt down, leaving Hosmer with only one play, and he almost didn't make that. First sacrifice of the year for Tyler, and Robin is looking over to see if in fact he felt that he was safe. So Robin with nothing to lose at this point, figuring we'll take another look at it.
Yeah, it looked like in real time they just didn't get him, but hopefully real time was wrong. We had a review in the first game. We'll never know if it hurt or not, but they blew it. Jerry Mills missed the call at second. Steal, attempted steal by Avi Garcia, and they certainly blew it in New York. In fact, that was sort of a big topic after the game. Yeah, it looked like they got him there, but a lot of guys are saying, and everybody is agreeing, they're going to have to take the umpires out of that New York scene and put an impartial group of guys to review the plays. As Ned Yost is out, he wants the left-hander So Volquez goes 6 1/3. He will depart, and we will be back.
Opponent's batting average at .217 is a pretty good number. A whip at .98 is an exceptional number. And he's just in addition to an already overwhelming bullpen. But right now, he comes in trailing by a pair with the go-ahead insurance run out at second base. And there's a look at Edinson Volquez, who got hit a few different places tonight.
Pointing out
he's going to be pretty sore tomorrow. He took a couple
room
of shots.
service is going to be busy holding some ice up to his room.
He took a few shots.
So here we go. First pitch up high to Adam Eaton. Adam 1 for 3. He scalded one to Rocky. Drove him at the bottom of the first. And a good play by Infante. Then he struck out. Then he singled sharply in the hole between first and second. So he's hit it right on the money twice. Pitch outside edge or the outside.
So they're delayed again in Washington.
Yes, they are. Yes, he did. 1-2. Power. Another power failure. Breaking ball way outside. 2-2 the count. With Beckham on deck. Outfield really short. In center. And in left. You can go get them like Lorenzo Cain. You can play any way you want to play. He usually plays deep. Good eye. Just off the corner. And a full count.
Morales was originally signed by the Rockies. Made his way to the Red Sox, now pitching out of the bullpen with the Royals. Always had a good arm. Control usually was his problem early.
And that's going to be in the seats for a souvenir. And once again, the payoff. And that's ball 4. So a good at bat for Adam. And here comes Gordon. Gordon is due. He's 0 for 3. Gap out there in left center. If he can hit that, that will probably score a pair. And he takes a good pitch to hit. First pitch strike. Could be trouble. That could be. No, Alex is there. Drops the ball. They're coming home. They could have got the force at second. So the bases are loaded with 1 out.
Alex Rios not having a particularly good night in right field. And it's going to go as a base hit. It's a high slider. And here comes Rios. He should have it. Hosmer clearing the way, but Rios just drops it. Hosmer probably would like to have given way a bit sooner, but he didn't know if Rios was going to get there. That ball hits the heel of the glove, and the bases are loaded.
So, Melky. There's a nice block by Perez. Melky's 1 for 3, a double and a run scored. And that's going foul.
He broke the bat on that one as Morales got that ball inside. Tries to get the hands out before it gets too far inside on him, but comes away with a broken bat.
That's one thing about the Maple bats. You can hit the ball hard and it still breaks. That ball was hit hard. And a big pitch coming up in the scheme of things. There's 1 out, then the count 1-1. Now the hole. Melky in the hole 1 and 2. Low. Pretty nasty pitch right there. Melky, good job just to fight it off. Two 9-0 for us, 0-4-1 for them. If you're just joining us. Two down.
This ball is probably just out of the zone up. Melky swings through it.
Yeah, Melky with 2 strikes has a tendency to do that pitch. So here is Abreu. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Last time up, hit a ball deep into center field. Kane went back and made a real good catch on it. Takes first pitch strike down and in.
Lou Kochaver listening up in the pen.
To the count. Danks, 6+, no runs, 4 hits. A strong performance from our southpaw. And there's another comebacker. And once again, we have a scoring opportunity go by the boards. I think it'll be Hosmer, Kane, and Morales. Hosmer is 0 for 3. Cannot check it up on a breaking ball and the count 0-1. We have 2 runs on 9 hits. They have no runs on 4 hits. We have had some opportunities to score in this ball game as usual. And as usual, did not execute.
No, we got the second run on a break on a pitch around that went as a wild pitch.
1-2. He gone.
That was a very good pitch, by the way. And Jordan Baker, who has done a nice job calling the corners, calling close pitches, and calling balls on pitches just off the corner, saw this as a strike, and it was. Xfinity pitch tracks will show you that it got the lower part of the zone, and Hosmer is down.
Well, behind the plate, we've had 2 well-umpired games. Paul Emmel this afternoon, and big Jordan Baker tonight.
Big is right on. He's got to be the biggest umpire by a lot. He's 6'7".
Yeah, he's one of the biggest I've ever seen. Tim McClellan was a big man, but not as big as Jordan Baker. One and one to count. Kane is 1 for 3. He's hit the ball hard, very hard twice.
And that was a nice catch in the Sox dugout. Looked like Robin made the play.
Nice piece of cake for him.
Little one hopper. No obstruction.
Tried to backdoor him, and he wouldn't bite, so 2 and 2. Another big hack.
Another one dropping into the Sox dugout.
Line shot, get over there, he will. Kane is just absolutely swinging that bat. Now Adams going to have to get a little ice.
That was a hard hit ball, one hopping. He was able to knock it down, stayed right with it. And Tyler Flowers, and this is a good decision to move to the mound. It's very hot. It's very humid. It's been that way all day and all night. And Tyler wanted to make sure with Zach making the run to first base that he had his wind back. It felt pretty good to concentrate on the next hitter.
Who is Morales? Kendrys popped up to right, singled softly to center, and he just missed one in the 6th inning. He got a good pitch to hit and just underneath it.
Zach Putnam loosening up in the pen.
He'll get Perez if Morales reaches. And there's a 2-hopper. Tyler. A 1-2-3 inning. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th with a 2-0 lead.
strong. Gave up 4 hits, no runs. Tyler Flowers with an RBI single in the second. Just enough offense to this point with superlative pitching making it hold up. That's brought to you by the Honda Dream Garage Sales Event, now at your Honda dealer. And we got a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Luke Hochevar. On for the 20th time. A couple of years ago, he had a magnificent year, very much like Wade Davis, a starter that they converted to a pensman. He was unbelievable out of the bullpen. Now he's coming back from an injury and trying to regain that magic. Former #1 pick in the country a few years back by these Royals.
Here's Adam. Takes a breaking ball. No. 1-0 the count. Adam 0 for 3.
There's a look at David Robertson loosening up in the bullpen. He knows barring a couple of runs, the 9th inning is his.
As much as I like to watch him pitch in this one, let's just let him stay right where he's at.
Score a couple?
Yeah.
Get a little more comfortable?
Yeah. Hochevar right where he should be.
Fans, the First Merit Bank Stadium Club offers breathtaking views of U.S. Cellular Field and delicious food and beverage options. It's open prior and during White Sox games. Purchase a First Merit Bank Stadium Club membership by calling 312-674-1000.
Here's Avi. Avi is 2 for 2, a triple, a bullet, an even harder single, and a walk, and he has scored a run. That one at 95. Going away, and they tell us that Dodger Washington game has been suspended after 5, with Washington leading 3-2. It resumes to be determined. Huge gap in left center. That pitch just, if anything, a thread on the outside corner. 1-2. Trying to protect after that previous pitch call. So 2 down.
Tee off for charity and join Chicago White Sox charities for the Field of Greens Celebrity Golf Tournament presented by Miller Lite. This year's tournament will be held on July 20th at Harborside International Golf Center. Join the fun and sign up by visiting WhiteSoxCharities.org or calling 312-674-5391.
Get you a group and come on out. There'll be, I'm sure, a few wagers going on. Get yourself some mulligans. Get there before Farmer does, though. Because he'll take most of them.
So the mulligans are available?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you can't have a scramble without mulligans. You're not a real true scramble player unless you got 40 or 50 left over.
That's exactly right. For the late holes, get you 20, 24 under, something like that.
Yeah, my guys from St. Louis couldn't make it. Randy Blunt, Joe Hyduke.
It's a good thing because that course would have eaten them up.
Yeah, we won it the last 2 times. I think we were 23 under last time, 22 under the time before. There's a strike. A lot of the players are going to be there, so we'll have a good time. That's Monday. Hit Harborside. Got him. So we will go to the ninth, leading 2-0.
On over 400 mobile and connected devices. It's real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. And so, David Robertson comes in the ball game to protect the 2-run lead. 4-2 is ERA, under 2.5 on for the 36th time, looking for save number 20. 53 strikeouts, just 7 walks in 36 2/3.
Salvador Perez will lead it off. He's 0 for 3. Popped up to second, then he just missed hitting one out of here. To left, high towering drive. Then he went out to left softly. Takes first pitch strike. 2-9-0 for us, 0-4-1 for them. Sox try to square up this doubleheader. And the count very quickly 0-2. He did not go. Two and two. 1 out.
He went to the curveball and he got Perez expanding his zone. Nice block by Tyler Flowers. And 2 outs to go.
Infante is 1 for 3. Had a little soft single back in the 2nd inning. Then he popped a short. Then he bounced back to Danks. Outfield slightly to the right. Bobby Shorten, right field. As there's first pitch strike. That curveball hangs inside to even the count at 1. Two and 1. We had a final from Cincinnati. Indians lose to the Reds 6-1. Leak over Bauer. Detroit beat Baltimore 7-3. That was at Comerica Park. There's a strike, and that evens up the count at 2. Ball into short right field, but we got a man there playing shallow like he normally does in this situation. 2 down. So here's Alex, 0 for 1 with 2 walks. Takes the breaking ball strike. 25,701. A 2-game total of 51,508. And the count 0-2. Souvenir right side. And another souvenir. Atlanta beat the Cubs 4-2. And right now we're trying to split this doubleheader. Going to the inside.
That one didn't miss by much, but it did miss. He's trying to throw that fastball right on the corner, just a touchdown.
So the Sox, indeed. Samardzija pitched well in the opener. We couldn't score. Johnny Danks, Steve.
Johnny Danks came right back against the team that he's done exceptionally well, and he did it again. He now goes 9-1 against the Royals. He threw 6 innings, didn't give up anything, and the bullpen, Petrichka, Duke, and Robertson made it hold up. So a split of the doubleheader after you lost the first is not all bad.
And Johnny told me before the game, he said, Hawk, get ready to call a gym because I'm going to give you one. And he did. And we'll be back.